Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Frostbite, and today I will be your tour guide in this Arknights and Endfield lore video. In this video, we will specifically talk about all of the Arknights races that haven't become playable in Endfield. First, let's cover the Ancient race group. For the sake of simplicity, basically think of the Ancient as a group of races that is mostly based on real-life animals. First, we have the Eager. Endfield-only players probably heard about this race for the first time when entering Originium Science Park. Specifically, when Fabian mistakes Endman as an Eager.
We have a Liberi, a Vriva, and you're an Ager.
By the way, we don't know what Endman's race is, but the speculation right now is if Endman is truly related to the Doctor from Arknights. Then he or she is a precursor, a being indirectly responsible for all the humanoid creatures in Arknights. Calling the precursor a real-life human might be a little misleading, but for the sake of simplicity, I guess you can think of them as the real-life human. Now, back to Aegir. Aegir is a pretty common race in the world of Arknights. This race is based on aquatic animals, and is described to have close affinity to water. Compared to other races, Aegir looks to be completely humanoid, without any bestial feature like horns, feathers, or tail. And that is also why Fabian said that Endman is an Aegir, because he didn't spot any bestial features on him or her. But some Aegir do have obvious animal features. For example, in OG Arknights, we have Operator Andriana, Glaucus, and Carrara. According to Arknights Lore Bible, compared to other races, Aegir rely more on water to maintain their skin moisture. They are also more susceptible to dehydration, and some Aegir are capable of breathing underwater. Moving on, we have Anura, a pretty rare race in Arknights. From OG Arknights, we literally only have Operator Blue Poison. They are a race based on frogs and toads. They look almost the same as an Aegir in a way that they are almost completely humanoid. But Anura's most noticeable characteristic is that they have patches of frog-like skin on some parts of their body. They also have the ability to secrete toxins from their body, which they can use as a weapon. But as seen from Blue Poison, this also makes Anurans tend to be avoided by most people. Next, we have Archosauria. They are a race based on crocodiles. A race who typically has bulky and scaly tails, muscular bodies, and prefer to live in moist environments like a rainforest. Most of them are noted to be great warriors and swimmers. And interestingly, male Archosauria tend to have a lot more bestial traits than the females. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Neferith is mentioned to be an Archosauria. Then we have the Aslan, a race based on lions. They are technically the subgroup of felines that diverged because of their unique culture and tradition, and because of their history in OG Arknights. The Aslans in Talos 2 could claim descent from a royal family, but as explained in this lore bits, it seems everyone in Endfield timeline agreed there will be no monarchs in Talos 2. Pushing to the next race, we have Cerato, an uncommon race based on rhinoceroses. Although the only example of Cerato we have right now isn't going to make you believe it, but they are said to be an absolute unit, with excellent physical strength and muscular bodies. Moving on, we have Elaphia, a common race in the world of Arknights mainly based on deer, and I believe giraffes are also included in this race. Most Elaphia are characterized by a pair of branching antlers atop their head that they are very proud of. In the OG Arknights, Elaphia is said to mainly live in forested regions. And interestingly, there's a lore bit where it said, most Elaphian love to play harmonica. Next up, there's Forte, another common race in Arknights. Plenty of NPC we met in Endfield is coming from this race. They are based on animals like buffalo, bison, cattle, and even camels, characterized by their 2 horns and tail. Most people with this race are noted for lacking flexibility, but have excellent physical strength and endurance to make up for it. Forte from Minoan descent, one of the countries of Arknights, are also noted to be a great philosopher. Moving on, we have Itra, a pretty rare race in Arknights. Supposedly they are based on musk deer. At first glance, they may look like a Kuranta or Elafia, but Itra is characterized by having large, rounded ears and a lack of antlers in both males and females. In OG Arknights, they are said to mainly come from the Terra Frigid region, like Yerag. In fact, the two examples of Itra we have right now came from that country. Okay, next we have Manticore, one of the ancient races that isn't based on real-life animals. As the name suggests, they are based on mythological creature Manticore. They are a rare race in Arknights, characterized by having that bat wing-like body feature on top of their head, and a scorpion-like tail. They are also prominent in using camouflage arts. Then we have Petrum, an extremely rare ancient race in Arknights, to the point most people don't ever see or hear about them. They are basically a race based on turtles. It's hard to say when the only Petrum we ever see in Arknights is just one character, but based on her looks, it seems much like Aegir Petrum are almost or completely humanoid. It is also said a community of Petrum inherited an ancient and unique smelting and forging techniques. Moving on, we have Pelosa, yet another rare race in Arknights. They are based on sloths. Right now, we only have one example of Pelosa in OG Arknights. They look completely humanoid, but as seen in the official art book, they actually have a small tail. But the most distinct feature that Pelosa have is their slow speech and movement. I guess pretty much like what you'd expect from sloth in real life. Next, we have Reproba, a race based on hyenas. They are characterized by having furry ears and tails with spots or stripes on their bodies. They have a low population back in OG Arknights, but most people are still aware of them. Generally speaking, female Reprobus are stronger than their male counterparts. In OG Arknights, there are also Reproba clans where they have a matriarchy system. Alright, the last ancient race, we have Zalak. They are basically a race based on rodents and other rodents-like animals. They have a huge population, and most are characterized by their eye-catching round ears on top of their head. Zalak are also generally smaller in size than other races, but they are more nimble, have sharper hearing and reaction, and also more sensitive to air. Moving on, this time we'll talk about the races in the Elder group, which represent a small portion of the population. Basically, in the early days of Terran civilization, they were the royalties and rulers, but today they are more or less equal to the ancient. Some elders are also categorized as an ancient subgroup. Like Heligur or Pogranichnik, who is supposed to be a hippogriff, is considered a liberi. Elders are also noted to have way more longer lifespans than ancient, as well as having unimaginable and powerful arts. And if ancient is a race group that is mostly based on real-life animals, elders are typically based on mythological creatures. Okay, the first elder we will see is Cerberus. As the name suggests, they are based on the three-headed dog of Greek mythology. Although considered an elder, they are classified as a subgroup of Pero. And to be frank, despite we do have an operator that is from this race in Arknights, I did not find much information about Cerberus other than they, or she specifically, can easily infuse powerful arts into her weapons. Well, there's a pretty crazy story where she turned into a literal beast, but this story came from a collaboration event with Dungeon Meshi, which is not canon and is meant to be not taken seriously. Next, we have Draco. Arknights have three races that are based on dragon. We have Lung, that is based on Chinese or Eastern dragons. Draco, which is based on European dragons. Or in layman's terms, they are based on Smaug. And finally, Vuiver, which is based on other dragon-like creatures such as Hydra, Wyvern, and Drake. Although Draco's appearance differs depending on where they came from. Generally speaking, they are characterized by their magnificent horns and majestic tails, and having excellent physical strength. which isn't that much different from a Weaver or even Lung. But the big difference here is their unique way to manipulate fire. And instead of fire, some of them, like Operator Reed and her twin sister Necris from Arknights, are more of a manipulating life energy instead. Reed is noted to be able to accelerate or overload a cell's metabolism to the point of combustion, while Necras is even crazier because she can literally revive the dead. And she herself is considered dead, as she was killed by none other than Reed, but manages to use her power to reanimate her own corpse and become some sort of undead. In OG Arknights compared to the other dragon race, Draco is extremely rare, to the point they are thought to be extinct, and most people will often mistake them as a Weaver. Pushing to the next Elder race, we have Kukulkan. Much like Draco, they are also a rare race. They are based on the feathered serpent by the same name. They look like a mix between Liberi and Phidia by having a feather on their head and a rather large tail. In fact, due to how rare they are often mistaken as either a Liberi or Phidia. One of the most interesting topics about this race is that most, if not all, Kukulkan practice a rather cruel ritual to their newborn. Basically, their young will undergo some sort of surgery where they will be implanted with their collective ancestral memories. While these collective memories prove to be useful, this ritual is known to heavily affect their body and psyche, which significantly cut the Kukulkan lifespan. It's safe to say they can live more than a century, but because of this ritual, they might not even make it through 40. Next, we have Keelan. They are an elder race based on Keelan or Kirin. In OG Arknights, we only have Lizzie as an example, but it seems they are characterized by having similar features within Alafia. In Arknights, Keelan can be found around Yan territory, and they are known as a remarkable lightning arts user. By the way, I don't see any confirmation about this, but it looks like Mi Fu is a Keelan. Moving on, there's Knights Mora, supposedly a race based on mare of Germanic folklore. The racial classification in Arknights considers them as a subgroup of Kuranta, and they are known for their red hair and proficiency in illusory arts. Knights Moran also has a tradition called Kagan Quest, a coming-of-age ritual in which a young Knights Mora must leave their homeland with only their weapons, making an oath to bring back glory with them. But it is said most of them have long forgotten their ancestry and their ancestral homeland. And although they still practice their Kagan Quest, most do it without knowing its symbolism. Next, we have the nine-tailed Vulpos. Seems to be based on Kitsune in Japanese folklore. Physically, the only thing that distinguishes them from ordinary Vulpo is that they have 9 tails. But nine-tailed Vulpo also have unique and perhaps more powerful arts. In OG Arknights, nine-tailed Vulpos are typically found in the country of Higashi, and it seems most of them serve as religious leaders in Higashinese shrines. Then we have Pegasus, a race based on the mythical creature with the same name. Much like Knights Mora, Arknights' racial classification considers them as a Kuranta. We got a good number of Pegasus operators in OG Arknights. They are typically known for their golden or white hair, and have a proficiency in light-bending arts. In Arknights, most Pegasus and Kuranta as a whole live around Casimir's territory. Okay, that is the Ancient and Elder. Then the other race related to the Sarkaz. There are 4 races that aren't classified as Sarkaz but still share a common ancestry, like Anasa and Sancta, which are already represented by Li Fang and Ember. So what's left are Oni and Durin. Oni is a race based on the same creature in Japanese mythology. Almost similar to a Sarkaz, they have 1 or 2 horns but don't have any tail. They are also known as a race of warriors, and it is said their racial trait can make them fall into madness during intense moments, like in the heat of a battle. Then there is Durin. Simply put, they are based on dwarves, but their culture really makes them feel closer to the Hobbit. Anyway, they are a race that has short stature, whose adults tend to be around 130 centimeters, and live in an underground city that has more advanced technology than most countries on the surface. Their society doesn't interfere with all the politics on the surface, and it is said most Durin rarely go up top, and when they do, it's usually just for fun. And from what we have seen, most Durin are happy-go-lucky people and a heavy drinker. Okay, that is 3 major race categories in the world of Arknights. But there's also a few other races that aren't included in those categories. For one, we have Farenmut. They are basically the godlike beings of Arknights' world. And some Farenmut have their own proxy or avatar, as a representative to the mortal realm. Some Farenmut proxies have a physical trait like one of Arknights' race, while others look completely different than any other race. And much of what you would expect from godlike beings. They have unimaginable power that doesn't seem to come from Originium arts. Lastly, there's the Elf. Supposedly their origin is related to the Farenmut. They have pointy ears, which isn't really a rare case for other races. But they are said to have a very long lifespan and have permanent youthful appearance. They also possess unique power that isn't related to Originium arts. Elves are an extremely rare race, and the reason why is likely because elves are highly sensitive to Originium. Contracting Oripathy can easily reduce their long lifespan to less than a month. Alright, I guess that's all the race that haven't become playable in Endfield. And as you can see, we have plenty of option thanks to this franchise's amazing world building. That should be all. Adios.